Begins. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the story of a machine that literally changed the course of history, the B-29 Superfortress. This isn't just about a plane, it's about a vision, an incredible feat of engineering, and a weapon that brought a global conflict to an end. Get ready, because this is going to be an epic journey. Scene change, archival footage of early B-29 concept drawings or factory work. Our story begins in the chill of early 1939. Europe was already ablaze, and in the U.S., a quiet meeting sparked an ambitious idea. What if we could build a bomber unlike any other? One that could fly higher, faster, and farther than anything imagined. The U.S. Army Air Corps laid out a challenge that seemed like science fiction: carry 20,000 pounds of bombs over 5,000 miles at altitudes of over 30,000 feet. For Boeing's engineers, fresh off designing the B-17 Flying Fortress, this was a monumental leap. They called it Model 345, and it demanded breakthroughs in pressurization, remote-controlled weaponry, and engine performance, technologies that barely existed. Scene change, footage of the R-3350 engine being tested, or close-ups of its components. At the heart of this beast was the Wright R-3350 duplex cyclone engine, a massive 18-cylinder powerhouse. On paper, it promised unmatched performance. In reality, it was a temperamental monster. Test after test, these engines would burst into flames. Pilots nicknamed it the fire breather, a name spoken with both awe and dread. One engineer famously quipped, "If you can make it fly without burning down the airfield, you've already won half the battle." But the Army needed this aircraft. With Japan entrenched across the Pacific, America needed a bomber that could strike targets thousands of miles away. Scene change, interior shots of a B-29, showing the pressurized cabin and remote turrets. The B-29 was truly a fortress in the sky. It featured the first pressurized cabin in a bomber, allowing crews to fly at extreme altitudes without oxygen masks. Imagine that! And its defense system was revolutionary. 5 remote-controlled turrets, each with 50-caliber machine guns, all directed by analog computers. This plane looked like something from the future, its gleaming aluminum skin, wings wider than a tennis court, and those 4 roaring engines, a true airborne titan. But all this innovation came at a staggering cost. Each B-29 was one of the most expensive projects of the war, second only to the Manhattan Project itself. It cost roughly $10 million in today's money and required over 160,000 individual parts. Scene change, fast-paced montage of B-29 production lines, women working, then an engine fire during a test flight. By late 1942, the pressure was immense. Boeing's plants worked around the clock with thousands of women joining the workforce, building these complex machines. But disaster struck repeatedly. Engine fires tragically killed several crews, and the R-3350's flaws persisted, leading to emergency redesigns. There were even talks of canceling the program. But visionaries like General Henry "Hap" Arnold pushed through. He believed that victory over Japan absolutely depended on this bomber. He even declared, "If this airplane fails, we lose the war." Talk about high stakes. Scene change, historical maps showing Operation Matterhorn, B-29s flying over the Himalayas, then the first mission over Bangkok. The first operational B-29s rolled out in mid-1943, still far from perfect. Crews even called them hangar queens because they spent so much time in repair. But every test flight, every malfunction was a learning opportunity. By spring 1944, the 58th Bombardment Wing was ready for combat. Their target, the distant Japanese Empire. But there was a massive problem. No base in the Pacific was close enough. This led to Operation Matterhorn, one of the most complex logistical feats in history. Thousands of tons of supplies were flown from India over the Himalayas, the hump, to bases in China. It was an engineering nightmare, but on June 5, 1944, the B-29 made its combat debut, striking targets in Bangkok. The Japanese were stunned. No enemy aircraft had ever reached so deep into their territory. Scene change. Dramatic footage of B-29s flying in formation, then anti-aircraft fire and exploding engines. But this was just a baptism of fire. Early missions over Japan were brutal. Relentless anti-aircraft fire, mechanical breakdowns, and fierce jet stream winds. Those engines remained the Achilles heel. Fires were so common that flight engineers carried asbestos gloves to handle flaming components mid-air. Some squadrons lost more planes to engine failure than to enemy fighters. Still, the missions continued, carrying not just bombs but the hope that this immense project would pay off. Scene change, maps showing the Mariana Islands, then a mass raid on Tokyo with footage of the city burning. The turning point came in late 1944, when the Allies captured the Mariana Islands, Saipan, Tinian, and Guam. These islands became the perfect launch pad. From here, the great silver bombers could reach Tokyo directly, with enough fuel for heavy payloads and a safe return. The first massed raid on Tokyo in November 1944 wasn't just a bombing mission. It was a signal that the war had entered its final phase. Over 100 B-29s roared into the night, their engines echoing like thunder. Tokyo burned. Its industrial zones, airfields, and docks erupted in flames. Japan's capital would never be the same. Scene change, montage of B-29s in flight, manufacturing, then a serious shift in tone showing the destructive power. What the world witnessed that winter was a new kind of power. The B-29 was more than a bomber. It was a symbol of industrial dominance, a testament to the combined will of millions. Every rivet, every circuit, every bullet carried the imprint of a nation's total commitment to victory. And as the raids intensified, the B-29's potential for destruction became terrifyingly clear. It was the first true global bomber, foreshadowing the intercontinental warfare of the Cold War. But its most terrible mission, one that would change human history forever, still lay ahead. Scene change, stark imagery of the desert, a mushroom cloud in the distance, then a modified B-29, silver plate model. Winter 1945. Tokyo had burned, but Japan refused to surrender. Factories still ran, soldiers still fought. Meanwhile, in the New Mexico desert, another secret project was reaching its climax, the Manhattan Project. They had succeeded in creating the atomic bomb. But how would these massive, delicate weapons be delivered? Only one aircraft could carry them, the B-29 Superfortress. In September 1944, the 509th Composite Group was formed, commanded by Colonel Paul W. Tibbets. Their mission was top secret. Modified B-29s, called silverplate models, were stripped down, equipped with special bomb bays, and tested relentlessly. Tibbets even named his own aircraft Enola Gay, after his mother, a name about to be etched into history. Scene change, somber music, then archival footage of Hiroshima before and after, then a mushroom cloud. The morning of August 6, 1945, dawned clear over Hiroshima. At 8:15 a.m., the Enola Gay dropped Little Boy. 43 seconds later, in a blinding flash, the world changed forever. The explosion released energy equivalent to 15,000 tons of TNT. Tens of thousands vanished in an instant. Hiroshima ceased to exist. Pilot Theodore Van Kirk later described it as, "Watching the sun rise on a world that wasn't meant to exist." Scene change, quick cut to Bockscar, then Nagasaki footage, emphasizing the scale of destruction. Just 3 days later, on August 9th, the second atomic bomb, Fat Man, was dropped on Nagasaki by another B-29, the Bockscar. Despite initial target changes due to clouds, the bomb detonated over the Urakami Valley, unleashing even greater destruction. Over 70,000 people died instantly. 6 days later, Emperor Hirohito addressed his nation, declaring Japan's unconditional surrender. The war was finally over. The crews of the B-29s listened in silence, some weeping, some cheering, all wondering what it all meant. They had ended the war, but at a cost that could never truly be measured. Scene change. Reflective montage of B-29s in various stages, then modern B-52s, ending with a shot of a museum B-29. The B-29 Superfortress was more than an aircraft. It was the embodiment of human innovation, capable of altering the course of history. It represented the peak of wartime engineering and the dawn of a new, terrifying age of destruction. Its legacy lives on in the B-52 and other modern bombers, foreshadowing the nuclear deterrence of the Cold War. For the men who flew them, the memories never faded. The roar of the engines, the smell of oil, the terrifying beauty of the firestorms below. Some believed they saved the world, others feared what they had unleashed. By the end of World War II, over 3,900 B-29s had been built, flying over 20,000 combat missions. But its greatest legacy isn't just in those numbers. It's in its message, that power, unrestrained, can reshape the world, for better or worse. The B-29 ended one war, but it also began a new one, the Cold War, an era defined by the fear of battles that could end civilization itself. The Superfortress stands today as both a symbol of victory and a stark warning, reminding us that human genius and human destruction often walk hand in hand. As one pilot put it, "We built a machine to end the war, but in doing so, we built a weapon that made war unthinkable." Thank you so much for watching and joining us on this incredible journey through history. What do you think about the B-29's legacy? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating stories like this. Your support means the world to us. See you next time.